Welcome back. That image there, I took that somewhere outside of Yellowstone in a tiny chapel, and the beam of light and everything was just like perfect. And since we're going to address the nature that took place at the cross, I thought that might be appropriate. We tend to overlook the nature that took place, like it went dark in the daytime, like a solar eclipse. The earth shook, and many thought they heard thunder. Those words that I listed in the beginning of this study, and asked you to write down the very first thing that popped in your head, those will hopefully have changed by the end of this study. As you remember, Elihu said in Job 37:2, "Hear attentively the noise of his voice and the sound that goes out of his mouth." And then the rest of those verses and chapters explains that God doesn't do things or speak, or there's nothing about him that's like us, right? The book of Luke over the years has become one of my favorites. Everyone has their favorites. It's mine. He tends to give a different perspective, and if you know physicians, they can be more detailed. So I will tend to read a lot out of Luke, but I would ask you to turn to Luke 21 right now. There's a long list, very detailed, of things that will happen prior to verse 26. But go down to verse 26. It says, "Men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on earth, for the powers of heaven shall be shaken." We do not want to be, or anyone we love to be, in that group of hearts failing. There will be a generation alive when Jesus returns, and lots will happen before that. Lots is happening now. We are to pass down every word spoken to the next, and each of us be ready. We forget that Jesus had concerns that he would even find faith on earth when he returns. That concern should be ours as well. In Luke 18:8, "I tell you that he will avenge them speedily. Nevertheless, when the Son of Man cometh, shall he find faith on earth?" Is it because we were not good stewards and standing in sound doctrine, as in 2 Timothy 4, and forgot his voice in thunder and how to listen to him in a storm or an earthquake? I only had to read the news this week of strange doctrines teaching that there's many ways to God and we don't have to go through Jesus, to know and understand why Jesus had concerns in Luke 18:8. Matthew 24, Mark 13, and Luke 21 are vital chapters for every generation to know on their heart. And then Job, and the book of Job. And each and every generation has faced most of the things in those chapters: war, earthquakes, storms. But do you ever think about they're there to remind us? I personally have not ever faced an earthquake, but they are all in scriptures from the front to the back. And my favorite place to go is the cross. In Matthew 27, verses 51 and 54, "And behold, the veil of the temple was rent in twain, from the top to the bottom, and the earth did quake, and the rocks rent. When the centurion and they that were with him watching Jesus saw the earthquake and all those things that were done, they feared greatly, saying, Truly, this was the Son of God. See, before the cross, many people didn't believe Jesus was the Son of God until some of the events in nature happened, right? Like that earthquake or the darkness. That's because they believed in God, the God of Job 38, and knew He controlled such things. Isn't that beautiful? That these people come to say truly that was the Son of God, but they did it after the earthquakes and the nature that took place. So the goal of this study was that everything that comes our way on the list that I gave you in the beginning, the first thing that pops in our mind is scriptures. Thank you for listening.